The hospital room smelled of bleach and something metallic, like blood under antiseptic. My wife's scream tore through the corridor the moment I shoved past the maternity ward doors. Raw animal. Nothing like the practice breathing we'd rehearsed in those stupid Lamaze classes. I was still wearing the same wrinkled shirt I'd slept in on the red-eye from Denver, tie dangling like a noose. 8 days away. 8 days of conference calls and hotel sheets that never felt like home. I'd sprinted from the gate, phone clutched white-knuckled, texting her every 5 minutes. On my way, baby. Hold on. I'm here. Then I saw him. Not the doctor. Not a nurse. A man I'd never met stood at Claire's bedside. One hand wrapped around hers, the other brushing damp hair from her forehead with a tenderness that made my stomach cave in. He leaned down, whispered something that made her laugh through a contraction, and she squeezed his fingers like they were the only thing tethering her to earth. I stopped dead in the doorway. The monitor beeped too fast. My pulse matched it. Claire's eyes flicked up. The laughter died. Her face went the color of the sheets. David. My name cracked out of her like she hadn't expected me to exist anymore. The man straightened slowly. Tall. Dark hair, expensive watch, the kind of calm that comes from never having to apologize for anything. He looked at me the way you look at an intruder. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. The bouquet of daisies I'd grabbed at the airport slipped from my fingers and hit the tile with a wet, pathetic slap. Claire tried to sit up, wincing. You're early. Flight landed an hour ago. My voice sounded like someone else's. Thought I'd surprise you. The stranger let go of her hand, slowly, deliberately, and stepped back but not far. Like he belonged there. I stared at Claire. 8 months pregnant with our daughter. My daughter. We'd painted the nursery butter yellow together. I'd assembled the crib myself, swearing at the instructions while she rubbed my shoulders and kissed the back of my neck. We'd made love the night before I left for Denver, slow and careful, her belly between us like a promise. Who is he? I asked. She closed her eyes. A tear slid sideways into her hair. David, this isn't. Tell me his name. Andrew, the man said quietly. Andrew Keller. The name hit me like a fist. I knew it. Not from her mouth, from mine. I'd introduced them. Last Christmas party. My firm's new senior VP. Claire had worn the red dress that made her look like sin and salvation at once. I'd bragged about her to him over whiskey. My wife's brilliant, you'll love her. She's the reason I'm not a complete disaster. I laughed then. A short, ugly sound that made a nurse glance up from the hallway. Claire's monitor spiked. She gripped the bed rail. It's another contraction, David, please. Andrew moved first, pressing the call button with the casual authority of someone who'd done it before. A dozen times, maybe. The realization slid cold down my spine. How long? I heard myself ask. She wouldn't look at me. How long, Claire? Andrew cleared his throat. This isn't the time. Shut up, I said soft. Dangerous. I'm talking to my wife. Her next breath shook. Since February. February. I'd been in Singapore for 3 weeks. She'd sent me a photo one night. Bare shoulders, hotel robe slipping, caption. Missing you so much it hurts. I'd stared at that picture on the subway, hard enough that a woman next to me shifted away. Another contraction hit. Claire cried out, back arching. The door burst open and nurses flooded in, barking orders. Someone tried to guide me out. Sir, you'll have to wait outside. But I couldn't feel my legs. Andrew stayed. He stayed right by her head, murmuring. Breathe, Claire. I've got you. Just like we practiced. The word detonated inside my skull. I don't remember walking. Just suddenly I was in the family waiting room. Fluorescent lights humming like hornets. There was a TV playing some cooking show no one watched. I sat on a couch that smelled of old coffee and despair and stared at my hands. They were shaking so hard the daisy's broken stems had left green stains on my palms. February. 6 months. Our daughter wasn't even born yet and already everything was poisoned. I thought of the sonogram photo taped to our fridge. The tiny footprint inked on Claire's birthday card. The way she cried when we heard the heartbeat the first time. Happy tears, I'd thought. Only happy. My phone buzzed. A text from her sister. Is everything okay? Claire said you seemed upset. I almost threw the phone at the wall. Hours bled. Someone brought me water I didn't drink. Finally a nurse appeared. Mr. Harlan? Your wife is asking for you. She's fully dilated. I followed her down the hall like a man walking to his own execution. Claire was drenched in sweat, hair plastered to her cheeks. Andrew stood against the wall now, arms crossed, watching. He didn't leave. She reached for me when I got close. David. Her voice broke. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but please stay for the baby. Please. I took her hand because I didn't know how to do anything else. Her fingers crushed mine as she pushed. I counted with the doctor, whispered the encouragements we'd rehearsed 100 times in our living room. I love you. You're doing amazing. Almost there. And then, our daughter slid into the world with a furious cry that punched the air from my lungs. Tiny, perfect, fists waving like she was already angry at the universe. The nurse wrapped her in a blanket and placed her on Claire's chest. My wife sobbed, kissing the dark, damp hair. She's here, Claire whispered. She's ours. I stared at the baby, at the slope of her nose, the shape of her ears, and I knew she didn't look like me at all. Claire's eyes met mine over our daughter's head. Panic flickered there, then something worse, resignation. She already knew what I was seeing. Andrew stepped forward, just one step, but enough. His gaze dropped to the infant, soft, reverent, possessive. The room tilted. Sound vanished except for the wet thump of my heart. Claire's lips trembled. David. I backed away until the wall hit my shoulders. The nurse bustled between us, oblivious. Dad, do you want to cut the cord? I looked at the scissors she offered. Looked at the baby. At Andrew's hand, now resting lightly on Claire's shoulder like it had always belonged there. I turned and walked out. Behind me, Claire screamed my name. Not in labor this time, but in something far worse. A sound I would hear in my sleep for the rest of my life. I didn't stop. Didn't look back. In the hallway, the daisies still lay where they'd fallen. Petals crushed under hurried feet. I stepped over them and kept walking. Past the nursery window where newborns slept under soft lights. Past the elevator that would take me down and out into a world that no longer made sense. My daughter was crying somewhere behind me. And for the first time in 9 months, I wasn't sure the sound was calling me Dad.